Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car.
Roses would be...
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have.
You'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, what's right?
Yeah.
I want to have a man's coolant.
And he's like, oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light.
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internet.
You know, is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
Hello, Brad. What's up?
Evening, Andrew. How are you?
I'm good. We are back for another episode of Auto Off Topic after a little bit of hiatus because, I don't know, you had something happen, like your neighbor was doing work and they ruined the internet.
So
Is that what happened?
my neighbor didn't call before he dug.
Yeah.
Actually,
Always dial 811 or something.
I guess I shouldn't blame my neighbor because technically it wasn't him. He had an issue with his main sewer line to the street. So a Roto-Rooter came to replace his sewer line, and they didn't call before they dig. They didn't call before they dug. So they wound up finding the colorful spaghetti. And they didn't tell anybody, which is really cool, obviously. And they just filled the hole back in, redid all his landscaping, and walked away. Meanwhile, the internet was gone. Now, we didn't realize that's why the internet was gone until we called it in because our internet wouldn't come back. And the guy came down. He's like, oh, the break is 1,500 feet from your house. I'm like, okay. So please fix it. That shows that it's not my fault. He's like, yeah, your main box is about 1,500 feet away, so I'll go over there. And he came back and he's like, nope, wasn't there. So I traced it, and it seems to be in front of that house down there in the corner. And I was like, oh. Yeah, Roto-Rooter was there. So my guess is they did something wrong. So it turns out they did something very wrong and didn't tell anybody. So after that, they dug up his yard again, had to fix it all again. When they dug it up, not only did they cut through the wires, but they had pulled the wires through the ground and like had broken them in like 4 other places beyond that too. So it wound up being like a 2 or 3 day ordeal to get that fixed. And then they said, all right, your internet's back. And I still didn't have internet. So we called in again. And they're like, no, we fixed it. And I was like, well, I don't have it at my house. And, you know, I'm not computer savvy. Like, I understand how to make the internet work. And we don't have it. And this was just before Labor Day. On like Friday or Thursday before Labor Day.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's obviously at your house, so this is not an emergency problem because the street is up, so we don't have any appointments until next Wednesday. And I was like, cool. So that's going to make it more than a week without internet at my house. So
yeah, am I going to credit on my bill?
They did, but not that much of a big deal. I'd rather just have internet. So anyway, yeah, after a week and a day, it came back. Somehow during this whole process, our router died, which I still don't believe was on us. I'm sure when the guy came here and was testing things initially, he probably broke something.
Probably.
Because the router worked, and then the whole system went down, and the whole system came back up, and then my router didn't work. So I don't mean to be like the ever since you my guy here, but pretty obvious what happened here. So anyway, it's back now. It's no faster than it ever has been, so that's not cool. But it's here. It works, mostly. I'll take it.
Yeah, because you don't have like telephone poles, so everything's underground, right?
Everything's underground.
So it just might run through your yard and you don't realize it.
You wouldn't realize
Interesting.
it runs through your yard. No, I do know how it works, and anybody who digs holes and works for Roto-Rooter should also know how it works because they dig holes in this town where the whole town is mostly the same.
Yeah.
But they didn't, so it is what it is. And actually, the internet here is run off old phone lines, which is probably why it's terrible.
Probably. It's not cable. It sounds terrible.
It is not cable. No, it is old. It's literally the old phone lines. Like the connection to the house that he was testing, I was outside when he was like opening the box, and it looks like if you stripped an old phone line out of the back of your phone and pulled the individual wires out of it. So I don't know how it even works, but supposedly like fiber optic stuff is coming, but it's not here yet. So
Well, it
I
sounds
will
like they're
be
gonna have to dig everything up.
100%. I'll be 100% switching when they bring the fiber optic cable up. Actually, no, I learned how the fiber optic cable works. It's actually almost like non-invasive. Like they dig a trench that's like the size of the cable pretty much. So anyway, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So that's
Meantime,
one of the
stuck with this.
reasons we didn't have a few episodes. And then I was on vacation, and then I came back, and I was too tired, jet lagged.
Yep.
So yeah, sorry about that. But here we are, recording an episode, and that's it. I don't know. It's free. Get over it, as we always joke.
Listen, we've been doing this since what, 2015 or 16?
2016.
2016. So sometimes you just need a little bit of a break.
Not quite to 400. We'll be to 400 pretty soon. But
You know what 400 means?
nope.
It's a good
Shut it
time to
down?
release our special 300th episode.
Yeah, I went away. I was in Portugal with some family. We were doing some family stuff. That's not too interesting for a car podcast. Rental car off topic. I did have a Dacia Jogger, which is kind of an interesting, weird. It's like a tall wagon type car. So I wouldn't quite call it a
slow running.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly like that. And like the side panels on the like rocker, above the rocker. I don't know what that part of the door you'd call it, below the belt molding or the rub strip. Is there a name for that part of the door?
Like the door skin itself?
Between the rocker and say the bump strip in the middle of the door. That's just the door. I don't know.
Yeah, just the
There's no
lower door
specific
skin.
name for that area. Anyway, it's got it had like a topographical like decal there. Looked kind of cool. Didn't really have black trim everywhere. It was a 6-speed manual, 1 liter, 3-cylinder turbo. Not as terrible as that sounds. It was actually decent. A little rattly and cheap, but had CarPlay and sat 4 adults. Actually had jump seats in the back. It was a 7-passenger vehicle, but we just needed the cargo space.
Yeah, this is like the modern version of the Mazda MPV.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I had the option to run on propane. I didn't do that because I was told it was really cheap if you wanted to drive it on the propane, but I was like, I don't feel like trying to figure that out. But yeah, it did
Costco
pretty
and
well.
exchange the tanks.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to go to the gas station that has it, and I guess it's like significantly cheaper than petrol, but I wasn't worried about it because I wasn't driving it terribly far. It was getting good mileage. So the only thing that was like really annoying is, and I didn't dig deep enough into it, it had lane keep assist, which when it didn't work that well, probably because it's a cheap car. So like, I'm good at following the lane, but it thinks I wasn't following the lane enough. So it's correcting my hands, and then I'm correcting it back, and then all of a sudden it's like warning me, pay attention to driving, because I'm like swerving, because it's like fighting me. And it's like
Maybe you're just not as good of a driver as you thought, Andrew.
maybe. But to me, when it does that, it feels like the front suspension is broken. Like it feels like a car that has a bad ball joint that just wanders. And then you like correct it. Right? It's so weird and dumb, and I don't like
Yeah,
it.
I think the issue is more getting used to something like that. Because
It
I don't
doesn't
like
do
it either.
yeah, but it
On
doesn't
my
do enough to
work,
keep the car in the lane.
sure, my work car has it, and I used to keep it turned off all the time, and eventually it kept resetting, and I was just like, I'm going to learn to live with this. So I've kind of learned to live with it. The only time it's really annoying is when there is things in the road that shouldn't be there. Like if sometimes you see like spilled paint out of the back of a pickup truck or like an old
It
line that's
confuses
been
it.
painted over and it gets confused and it yells at you. And when you're trying to like do an evasive maneuver, like there's a person riding a bicycle on the side or a person walking or there's a car pulled off the side and you have to cross a line. You're not going to put your turn signal on, which cancels the lane keep, but you have to
Yeah.
go over a line, and the car like it fights you. And I genuinely think we've talked about this before, but I genuinely think there's going to
Yeah,
be
we have.
accidents caused by this. So it's probably part of the issue. Just you have to get used to something like that, and it's not easy to get used to something in a
But
1 week rental.
I know that you and I have driven broken cars, and it literally feels like you drive a car where you're steering it and you're holding the steering wheel, and then all of a sudden there's movement in the suspension, and you're like, well, that's a bad suspension arm or ball joint or something. And that's what it feels like. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like there's movement in there that shouldn't be there, and it's very unnerving. I don't like it. But and the other thing it had in Europe, there's somehow the speed limit signs are connected to the dash in the car. Like there's a warning light. I don't know how that works actually, but it dings when you get close to the speed limit.
So that
And this
works
thing was
off
like,
of Google Maps because
uh,
my car has the same thing. My work car.
I guess I don't know because even if you don't have it plugged in, it would do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how it works.
Actually, no. My work car also does it without the car being plugged in because I don't use the GPS in the car. It doesn't
Yeah,
ding
I'm
when I
not
get
sure,
close to the speed, but it shows me the speed limit sign on the dashboard.
which is fine because I just don't care. But this thing was like so loud; it would ding so loud, and like, and if you're like hovering, even if you're on cruise control and you're hovering around that speed, and it like dips below and goes beyond it as it's using cruise control, it would like ding still, and you're like, all right, this is annoying. But anyway, uh, that was our rental car experience. They tried to give me a Nissan product at first, even though I rented a Peugeot wagon. I was like, no, I need something bigger because I have 4 adults and luggage. And then I'm trying to dispute it with Hertz because it's apparently they are a franchise, even though I rented through the Hertz app that I always use because I use it for work and I have a lot of status. She told me it would be 3,000 euros to rent a car that was only supposed to be like 400 euros. And I was like, excuse me, what? That's not what I specified. She's like, well, it's because you don't have the insurance. And I was like, no. I was like, doesn't my card cover the insurance? And of course, then they pretend they don't speak English. So I avoided that scam by paying for their insurance. So it ended up doubling the price, but it's clearly a scam, which is frustrating because it's like through what hurts. Like it's not like I went through some fly by night rental company.
I also have more
So
bad
yeah,
news for you.
what's that?
So you say that you avoided renting a Nissan, but technically you did not because Dacia is owned by Renault, who is owned by Nissan. So
Oh,
you
okay.
still wound up in a Nissan.
Well, it wasn't gonna be a Nissan crossover with a CVT. So
Sure.
with a cut down hatch in the back, which would not fit any luggage. Like if you've got 4 adults with roller bags, like they're just not going to fit in one of those vehicles. So, but anyway, yeah, they got a 1-star Google review and an angry email to Hertz, and I haven't heard back yet. So a little disappointed there. I think the next move is I'm calling my credit card company and canceling the charge.
Wow. What an American move there over in Europe in your Romanian Nissan.
Well, I mean, I've never had that issue renting ever through Hertz, even in other places in Europe where you rent via the app. That is the price you pay, or very close to
Yeah,
it.
it sounds like a scam.
So, yeah, that was annoying. Shame on me for not knowing more Portuguese, I guess, but I'll work on that. But anyway, I did do a fun car thing in there. Back in 2018, I'm sure I talked about it on the podcast. I went to, and Stephanie and I went to the museum di Carlamulo, which is a car museum. It's like the only one in that part of Europe. And it's up in this little mountain town of Carlamulo. And they just happen to be doing the Carlamulo Motorsports Festival. So instead of being this sleepy little town with a museum, it had like 10,000 people in it for a Goodwood style like motorsports event with a hill climb is the best way I could describe it, like a Goodwood light. They basically just took over this little mountain town. So I don't think it's that old of an event, but the car mix was like right up our alley, like 70s through 2000s stuff with some older stuff mixed in there. And they were doing a hill climb, and they had car like corral parking, but like, the very cool way you can park cars like in a little European village, like like a paddock area you can walk through, and then of course vendors and food, and the coolest part is that it didn't cost anything. Like, I mean, I shouldn't say anything. The only thing I had paid for was to go inside the museum building. I just showed up, walked around, didn't have to pay anything, didn't have to buy a ticket, nothing. It seemed like there were some like VIP areas, probably you'd pay more money for, but you could just walk around, and it was cool. That was so cool.
Yeah, looking at your pictures, I was definitely envious of you being there, because it's like when you go to a car show in the US and you see like one random vehicle that was not sold here, you get excited. But now you were at a car show in Europe, so it was just filled with weird stuff that we didn't get, like
But then
different
random
Renaults and
American stuff. Like there was a huge 80s Cadillac Eldorado, I think. The 4-door sedan, whatever that was. The rear-wheel drive one. I don't know those Malaise era Cadillacs. It was kind of like the one your mom had, but the 4-door version. Your mom's was a 2-door, the blue one. Yeah.
Yep, that was a Coupe de Ville.
Yep. But and then there was like a Chrysler Imperial from like the 40s, which was kind of cool just to see there, because these are big cars for that area.
Sure.
But yeah, and there's an NSU TT, beautiful bright yellow, European Eclipse, just like yours. They must have all been red. Did they sell another color of European Eclipses?
I know of a couple of white and black ones that are over there. Yeah, most of them are very bold colors.
Well, it's funny because I remember seeing a red one in the Azores, which are islands owned by Portugal. And then I saw this one here that was red. And then I of course know yours that's red. I'm like, are they all red? So
there's a
that
guy
was kind
that
of
follows
cool.
me on Instagram who has one that's also red.
Yeah.
Germany.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of cool. And there was a bunch of really cool rally cars, and I caught it at the end. I didn't get to see it in the paddock, but there was a 240 race car with the Nordica colors that was going up the hill. There was the Portuguese 4x4, which is like the UMM that was built in Portugal for like the military use. There was Dakar versions that they used. That they raced in Dakar that were running up the hill. That was really cool. You know, it's typical Mark 1 escorts, Mark 2 escorts. It's just very, very cool stuff. And there's an air show going on at the same time. The planes flying over doing tricks. Like, very, very cool event. Kind of want to keep it a secret.
I don't think a bunch of Americans are going to show up there next year if you talk about it on this podcast.
No,
So
no.
I think we'll be okay.
But listen, if it blows up, I was there first. Just know. I was the original influencer. I was the tastemaker.
Portuguese car show hipster.
Yeah. I'll definitely be looking at, if not next year, I'll definitely return in the future. It was cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully with a better
sounds
car
like
to
a
go
good
up.
time.
Because it's all cool mountain roads to get up there. Like, it took me over this mountain pass that literally went up a mountain. I was at the very peak of the mountain underneath all these wind turbines and then went down into the town. And then come to find out that the town, there's an old sanitarium. It used to be a tuberculosis town. That's why it's up in the mountains, and that's why that exists. So, but very, very cool event. And I know because I already put them up. So on our Instagram, they're already on there. I've got some just basic walk around videos. And I got to post some more pictures. I haven't gone through really any of my pictures yet. So
Sounds like
yeah.
one of us should try to purchase a European vintage car and take delivery of it around the time of this event and be able to drive something over there and then have it shipped home.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool. It's a very, very cool event. Yeah, that was like the cool stuff for car things I did over there. But anyway, what do we got? What else we got going on? We'll do some car updates. I've got a lot of project car updates. We can talk about a little bit about NASCAR. You want to talk about NASCAR right now? We'll get that over with. I missed the worldwide technology race, but I caught the highlights of it, and Hamlin won that, and that was the last race of the round of 16. So they're well into the playoffs, or was that the last race of not the playoffs? It's so confusing sometimes.
Bristol was the last race of the round of 16.
Right.
Worldwide technology came before that.
Yep. And yeah, that was a decent race, I guess.
I have nothing to contribute. I haven't seen either race.
Okay. Bristol was cool. The tire wear was interesting. It was better than last year. That was just like a Kyle Larson cruise control snooze fest. They made the tires basically so soft that you had to come in after like 30 or 40 laps. And that was cool. Maybe some people didn't like it. I liked it. Made for actually passing, and putting fresh tires on actually did a thing. So, and Seabell won. So that was interesting. Good for him. And now this week is playoff race in New Hampshire, which is interesting. I've actually never been to a playoff race, and it just happens to be in New Hampshire. Which I still get 2 extra tickets if you want to jump on a plane.
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think so. I think that at this point, my weekend is pretty solid.
Yeah, I get... man, I couldn't get anybody to take them, so...
see, out of curiosity,
it is what it is.
Flight would cost right now for the weekend, because it's Thursday night, Andrew. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can fly in tomorrow. You don't have to pay for the tickets, and you get a place to stay. So really, you just need airfare. It's very, very cheap.
All right, let's see.
What do you got? Spirit? What do you got?
I'm just gonna check the
Southwest.
Hopper app, which is it kind of gives you a basic overall thing.
It's not a holiday weekend.
Loading. It would cost me, not including the time I had to take off from work, because I'm sure. Actually, it's not bad.
Let's call it sick. You don't sound so great. You need to take Friday
Round trip.
off.
What do you think? Round trip?
Is it $400?
Not even.
Really?
Yeah, $325 on Spirit.
No, that's not bad. It's not bad.
I mean, that's Spirit with one stop and DTW, wherever that is.
Dallas, Fort Worth, Dallas. I don't
No,
know.
that's DFW. This is DTW.
Oh, DTW. Maybe it's in Maryland or somewhere. That would kind of make sense. Go to Maryland, then fly up here. I don't know.
Oh, it is Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County Airport.
No. All right, that's not bad. You go to Detroit, then it's another hour to here.
Nonetheless, it's not happening. I was hoping it was going to be like $15,000 so I could make it anyway, but turns out it's actually pretty reasonable. But
Yeah. You're hoping it would either be $15,000 and it would be hilariously impossible, or it would be like $15 and you'd be like, well, now I have to do it.
now I have to do it. Yeah. I mean, $300 is pretty reasonable for a day before. Like that was a Friday to Monday flight, and
Yeah.
Thursday night at my time 6 p.m. So that's pretty crazy. That is that cheap. So
Yeah.
nonetheless, not gonna happen. I have too much to do, Andrew. I need to get the engine out of the curl this weekend. I have not done that yet. So
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, NASCAR's been kind of decent the last couple of weeks. I don't want to dwell on it too long, but I'm looking forward to the race and seeing it in person. It'll be my second NASCAR race of the year, which is cool because we went to Watkins Glen, but I'm a little bummed that SVG didn't do so hot, so he's out because I believe this round has the road course in it, so he had a chance. He could have advanced to the next round, but didn't work in his favor.
Well, at the end of the day, he's a rookie this year. It's his first full season.
It
He
is.
made the playoffs. Pretty good stuff.
I think at this point, it would be nice to see, I guess, just to get it over with, just see Hamlin win it finally. Just finish it, seal the deal for him.
Maybe, but I'd like to see a 23-11 car win because of everything going on.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
lawsuit right now. It would be a good
Yeah.
little stick it to the man moment.
The Toyotas seem really, really strong. You've got, you had a Chase Briscoe win, you had a Hamlin win, you had a Christopher Bell won. So I think, I believe the last three races were all Joe Gibbs wins, which is pretty impressive. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who wins. Christopher Bell won last year at New Hampshire. There's no rain in the forecast. It's going to be bright and sunny all day, so no rain tires.
Run your rain
be
tires
cool.
anyway in New Hampshire.
Yeah. I have no idea who might win, but we'll see. Project car updates. Let's get anything else.
I mean, I did a couple of events, but they also kind of tie into project car stuff, so I should probably talk about that first. So.
All right. What do you get for events?
Oh no, I want to talk about project car stuff first because
you want to do project car stuff first? You want me to go first,
Yeah.
or you go first? I'll go first because then you can go right into your.
Okay, go ahead.
Why don't I go first, sir? And then because then you can go right into your events. How about that?
Sure. Do it up.
Don't worry, we're making this up on the fly. Clearly. All right.
2 weeks to prepare, Andrew.
Yeah. All this time and I didn't make notes. I went. Because I've been busy with other stuff, I finally had some time to actually work on the Volvo. And I don't know if I've talked about doing any of the things, but, I had gotten the exhaust header wrapped, installed, O2 sensors in there. Just quick recap, because I think I kind of talked about this. Intake manifolds on the car. And then it was like I had just dry fit the carbs. So the last couple days, I have got the carbs actually hard mounted in the car. I've trimmed some of the heat shield on the bottom of the carbs because one of them was interfering with the throttle shaft lever, because that's the last thing you want is that thing to flip and then get caught on something so it sticks wide open, because it could flip beyond it and get stuck. So I took a nice Dremel and carefully trimmed that out. Got them all set up. Added the linkage between the two. I thought that was going to kind of be a pain to like fit them both in, because they kind of have to slide together as you're putting them on, but it really wasn't that bad. A bunch of stuff I had ordered before I went on vacation, like I ordered some brackets that mount to the carbs on their studs that allow you to mount like spherical joints, so you can run the throttle linkage shaft through them. And I ordered some components that came with a bunch of stuff to make that work. So I've got it all set up now with a working throttle linkage, and I actually bolted the underdash linkage from the gas pedal using my modified McMaster Racing brackets, and that worked out really well. And everything's hooked up right now. I did that this afternoon, and it seems to work. So you push the gas all the way to the floor, and you get wide open throttle. And it really didn't take as much fiddling as I thought. Maybe there'll be some more adjusting once the thing's running, but I was shocked at how well I just put it together in like a half hour. Like, I thought it was going to be really fiddly, and like I was going to have to like play with the angles of the arms. But it like turns out when you sit there obsessing over how this will work and thinking about it and trying to order the right parts, that sometimes that actually works out.
A rare win. I like it. Especially when you're completely retrofitting something that does not belong there.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of there, but it's interesting because I couldn't just, the Webers are basically universal for any vintage engine, or any engine really. And then what's specific is the manifolds. And then these manifolds really didn't have any provisions for linkages. They kind of had one, but maybe if the stock rod was a little bit longer, maybe there's a different version that's a little bit longer, it would fit in that little loop thing that's on top of the intake manifold. But the one I had was not long enough, so that wasn't going to work. So I had to come up with this other universal sort of linkage kit that you can just buy. And luckily, that's the nice thing about these Webers, is that they are universal, but there's also a bunch of universal parts to make them fit and adapt to different engines. So you can kind of figure it out. And by connecting the two carbs together in the middle and then running one linkage, I'll only have to worry about adjusting one linkage. I don't have to adjust two, which is good. But, actually, I'm kind of surprised how well it worked and how easy it went together. So I was expecting it to fight me a little more. I also got air filters that fit. They were just like empty ones from a dune buggy parts company, but they just fit, again, DCOEs, so they look cool and vintage. I mounted the fuel pressure regulator to the firewall right in line, so you can just put the fuel line right to the carbs and put the T-fitting on them. So it's not that far off. I got to do like a lot of the coolant lines and oil pressure sender and tidy up some of the wiring and like put the radiator back in. So, will I have it done next week? Probably not, but maybe hopefully in the next 2 weeks I can start it. It's just a matter of getting time to work on it, and certainly going away to the NASCAR race the weekend kind of takes away time to work on it, but it is what it is. I'm not in a super rush, but I would like to finish it for this season, to at least drive it a little bit. So I'm happy with how far I got in it, because I wasn't like super motivated to work on it the other day and started like kind of forced myself to work on it. And now I got it pretty far in like 2 days. I had some free time unexpectedly from work, so I was able to do some stuff to it.
I assume that unexpected free time from work is not permanent.
It's not permanent. It was just unexpected downtime for other things
Sure.
that we can't talk
Unexpected
about.
downtime. Unexpected downtime from work is usually like, oh, but
Yeah,
slip on the
no,
radar,
it's
we'll
just
say. Yeah.
yeah. There
all,
is
all good.
yeah.
Sweet.
But
Well, make sure when you put those fuel lines on that if you use those clamps that are labeled as fuel injection clamps, to make
yeah.
sure the tail on the back side of it, you keep track of that as you're tightening it.
Yeah, it should kind of collapses like around itself.
Yeah, should do that.
Have you pinched hoses? Yeah.
So I don't want to. That's just a preview of my project car stuff. So
I mean, I buy ones that are like I have the Earl's version, and then I have some that were recommended when I was buying them on Summit because they're the Summit brand, but basically a little bit less money, but look just like the Earl's ones.
well,
So I don't know if
I
it's a
tighten.
quality issue of them.
It could be because mine are the Harbor Freight version, so I'd never expected this to be an issue, but it was. So just a preview of my project car stuff.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much all I've done. Everything else has just been backburnered. I haven't. Now I've got two cars that need inspection stickers: the G20 and the Montero. And I just got the email the other day from State of Mass. I was like, "Hey, are you gonna do your inspection sticker? Don't forget, or else you gotta tell us it's off the road." So, because it's been like 2 months and I haven't driven it, and I just haven't taken the time to drive it over to the inspection station. And now I got to do the G20 too. But yeah, that's pretty much it. What do you got working on?
So I drove. Oh, let's see. I haven't talked for a while here. So 2 weekends ago, maybe 3 weekends ago, a friend of mine and a friend of the show and former guest Josh has the other first gen Mighty Max Dodge Ram 50, and he had that aluminum 1980s cap on his truck, and he knew that I was looking for a similar cap, like a period correct cap for my truck. So he had decided he was going to go with like a custom ladder rack style setup to do a rooftop tent and whatnot on his. So he was like, "Hey, do you want to buy my cap?" Of which that's what I've been looking for. So absolutely, 100%. So we decided to go to the Adventure Machines event at 4 till 4, which was the last Saturday of the month. So we did that. Also happened to be Josh's birthday, so a few of us went and got breakfast and did a whole like thing. But we met there and exchanged the cap on the back of the truck in the parking lot of 4 till 4. So that was cool. But the whole time driving there, I smelled fuel. And I was like, this smells like more fuel than normal. And I looked under the truck and it wasn't leaking. I was like, okay, that's fine. And I kind of looked around and I didn't open the hood because it didn't feel like it was coming from under the hood. I thought it was maybe like some kind of a like a yeah, like a pressure line, like a
Yeah.
not pressure, you know the word I'm looking for, an evap line.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll just go home. So
Just a
I drove the car
tiny bit
home.
of fuel smells so much.
Exactly, and there was nothing was leaking. There was no like obvious spilling of fuel on the ground, and I couldn't smell it any stronger in the front or the rear, which is kind of like an odor of fuel around the truck. And when I was driving the truck and it was moving, I didn't smell it. It was only like when I backed into a parking spot, I was like, that was a big whiff of fuel. So anyway, I got home, parked the truck, didn't think anything of it. Love the new cap. Looks super cool on there. It's definitely like an 80s style aluminum cap with plexiglass windows in the side. And then the center windows are actually glass that pivot out with screens in them, so you can camp inside the thing and have like it's almost like a screen porch in the back of my truck, right? Super cool. And fast forward, I did go camping in it this past weekend, and it was awesome. But didn't think anything of it. Parked the truck. Last Wednesday, I was supposed to meet another friend to go to a metal show in Mesa, about 45 minutes away. Naomi was taking a bike ride with her friends, and the bike rack for her truck is on her truck. So, and also her truck has air conditioning, so I'm not going to make her take a bike ride and make her take my truck with no air conditioning on a really hot night. Because after the bike ride, the last thing you want to do is drive home in a super hot cabin. So I was driving the truck with no AC, grumble grumble, because I still haven't fixed the Eclipse AC, also grumble grumble. But I would just start it, and I was like, man, I smell fuel even more than I smelled it before. So this is like as I'm getting ready to leave. I open the hood and I just see fuel just literally spraying out of the hose that goes from the feed line into the carburetor. I'm like, oh, that hose is brand new. That's weird. So obviously I shut it down, pull the hose off, and I see that when I had tightened it, the pigtail on the inside of that clamp had actually caught the hose and it dug its way through the hose. And over time, it just made its way all the way through and made a giant leak in the hose. So that was cool. My guess is it probably did it right away. And then just as the truck's been driven, it's just vibrated enough to move it to a point where like fuel found a way. And it's obviously pressurized fuel, so it was just squirting everywhere. Thankfully, it's a cross flow style head, so the exhaust is on the opposite side of the intake. So I wasn't spraying fuel all over the hot exhaust, or else when I first started smelling fuel a week ago, probably could have burned the truck down. So that would have been not ideal. So I did emergency repairs on the truck in the driveway as I'm getting ready to go to the concert. Get it all taken care of, get it fired up. It's not leaking anymore. Sweet, good to go. Go out on the road. I get 10 miles into my journey. I'm on the 101 loop, maybe 15 minutes into my 45-minute drive, and the truck shuts off. All right, this is weird. So I put the clutch in, I try to fire it. It's cranking, cranking, cranking. It's rush hour on the 101 loop in Scottsdale. Not a great place. Even made worse so because that particular area of the 101, for anybody who's listening who's currently in Phoenix and familiar with the area, is under heavy construction. And there are 0 breakdown lanes. It's just K rail on both sides during rush hour. So now I'm doing my little like, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I take care of this? In the meantime, still trying to make the vehicle start. It's not starting. Thankfully, I rolled up just enough to get past the K rail to the gore lane. So the gore lane is the triangle area where the on ramp and the highway meet. I managed to get it in the gore lane, which is completely lined with the giant orange cones with the yellow flashing lights on top. I can't get in there without hitting these yellow cones or orange cones, so I'm just going to have to hit some cones. So I hit some cones, I smash my way into the gore lane, and I get the truck stopped. But the problem is that that particular on-ramp has a entrance that's like a quarter mile down the road before you get to that gore lane. So it's K-rail, on-ramp, K-rail, 4 lanes of interstate. So I'm just in the middle with cars on both sides of me doing 75 miles an hour. So that's super fun and super safe, obviously. I can't hear anything, so I can't do any kind of diagnostics on the truck. I open the hood real quick and I say, you know what? I don't think I actually care. I'm going to get out of here and like dart across the highway and jump the K rail because I don't want to be around this situation. Because as much as I love this truck, I don't want to get squashed by a passing 18 wheeler or a Honda CRV or whatever. It's not worth my dying over. So I managed to run across the road and jump the K rail. And thankfully, because it is construction, on the other side of the K rail, there's like this protected area where the construction equipment is all parked, like tractors and whatnot. So that's obviously they protect that from traffic. So I was able to hang out in there away from my truck. So the truck's sitting there, middle of the highway, cars going by on both sides, hood's up. So hopefully people can see it. Hazards are on, but it's an 80s Mitsubishi product. Doesn't really have the brightest flashing hazards. So I'm just sitting there like fingers crossed that nobody hits my truck because that would really ruin my night. Meanwhile, I'm sending pictures to Ron, who is sitting at the restaurant I'm supposed to meet him at before the show. So called.
Typical.
I've had good luck for a while. The truck did break down on my first big drive with it, but I've gone through it and you joked earlier about us driving cars that are like,
Yeah.
garbage and we can tell when they're broken. But
Yep.
as we've aged, I've tried to get better about that. And I've gone through this thing and everything that can break has either been fixed or inspected and made sure that's good. So I didn't know what it was. It's a simple vehicle, so I knew it was either spark or fuel, right? That's all it can be. I've put a few thousand miles on it since I fixed it. So anyway, on the side of the road, I called Haggerty Roadside because the truck is insured with Haggerty. They set up a tow. Then I also called the DPS, which is our state troopers, the Department of Public Safety, because I was like, I'm gonna really need somebody here to help out when the tow truck gets here because I don't know how the tow truck is gonna load this car up because the gore lane, like the triangle shape of the gore lane, is just about big enough for my truck. So there's nowhere to put a flatbed or a tow truck in order to hook this thing up. So I'm sitting there waiting. Eventually, a police officer shows up in a new Camaro. And he's like, "Huh, that's not really a good place to break down." I was like, "Yeah, I'm aware. That's why I called." He's like, "All right, I don't know what I'm gonna do." And I was like, "I don't know what we're gonna do either." I was like, "But we can't just leave it there. So we'll have to figure out something." So he says, "Well, do you have the tow truck driver's phone number?" "Yeah, I do actually." He says, "All right, call him. Tell him to take the Princess Road on ramp. But when he gets to the top of the ramp, have him stop and I'll pull up behind him and I'll shut off the ramp so he can load the car up." I was like, "All right, cool." So anybody who was on the 101 leaving work at 5:20 last Wednesday that got stuck on the Princess on ramp, I would like to apologize in advance because that was 100% me. I was the
This
guy on the
guy.
news. I was the guy on the news who was like, disabled vehicle at Princess and 101.
Look at this poor old guy with his cheap old truck.
Beat up old
Can't
truck.
afford
Yeah,
anything.
get a new car, you jerk. So anyway, tow truck driver shows up. Cop blocks the exit ramp or on ramp. Tow truck driver goes, "All right, this is a bad spot." He goes, "Get in the truck. I'm gonna do this NASCAR style." And I was like, "What does that mean?" He goes, "Real fast." And I was like, "Okay, I'll get out of the way." So I got in the truck and we were out of there in I'd say less than 3 minutes. He had that thing upload
So
quick.
these guys are pros.
Oh yeah, he was a pro for sure. Had a great conversation with him on the way back to my house. He's definitely a car guy. He's a president of one of the local lowrider clubs. Was telling me all about his S10 Blazer lowrider and his Cutlass
Nice.
lowrider. Yeah, he was.
All comes back
He
to
was just
S10s.
lowrider version of us. Yeah, S10s and Cutlasses. So super cool guy. Got back to the house. I get back to the house. Ron messages me. He's like, "Hey man, so what are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm annoyed now. I want to fix the truck." And he's like, "Well, traffic's probably died down. It's probably not a 45-minute drive anymore. Probably about a half-hour drive." He's like, "And there's about a half hour before the opener goes on. If you still want to come down." And I was in my brain saying, no, I don't want to do it because the Eclipse still doesn't have air conditioning. And actually, the plates expired last month. So I probably shouldn't take it. But it's the only other car that's accessible because I still haven't touched the Starion either. And that's blocking everything in the backyard. Lack of better judgment, I took the Eclipse. And the whole time I'm driving there, I'm like, man, I just feel like this car is going to break down on me tonight. Not because there's any reason to, just because that's just the way this night has gone. And something's going to happen. I'm going to have 2 toes in one night, and I'll be really annoyed. But the Eclipse did not let me down. Made it down there. Was there by the 3rd song of the opening act. So, didn't miss the band that I went to go see. Only missed 3 songs, or only technically 2 songs of the opening act. Just missed the dinner and pre-show drinks with Ron. So, overall a success, I'll say. But that was Wednesday. Thursday I had to work. Friday I was actually off because I was planning on going to the Prescott Rally, which longtime listeners of the show will know that the reason I live in Arizona is because I went to the Prescott Rally in 2010 with you and Stephanie and fell in love with that part of the state. Really gave me the push to want to live here. So for a lot of years the rally didn't happen. Past few years it has. Actually, you were here for it last year. So
I was.
I wanted to fix the truck because the plan was to meet Michael from IDR at the rally and run sweep with him at the rally. Not with my truck, obviously, but with his truck. So I went to diagnose the car. Actually, the night after the concert, I got home and it was like midnight, and Naomi was already in bed. I came in the house and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going to run outside real fast because I want to diagnose the truck because it's bothering me. If I can at least figure out if it has no spark or no fuel." So I turned the key to on and didn't hear the fuel pump kick on. So I was like, all right, that's easy. It's at least either going to be something went wrong when I wired the fuel pump in or the fuel pump itself died. So Friday, I was off because I was going to go to the rally. I went outside in the morning and I had my multimeter and I turned the key to on and checked the leads at the pump. And I had 12 volts at the pump. So I knew my wiring was fine. So obviously there was something going on with that brand new fuel pump. So I went to O'Reilly's to exchange the fuel pump. I've since learned that everybody says these fuel pumps are absolutely terrible and they don't last very long, which also makes sense because the one that I put in the 74 Colt in Salem was dead when I went back to Salem to try to get the car started again last time. So I'm anti Edelbrock red fuel pumps. Do not buy those. I have since been given a bunch of different suggestions from other people for other inline fuel pumps that not only are more reliable but cost way less. So if you need an inline fuel pump, low pressure, I think they're 2 to 4 psi. Shoot me a message and I'll give you a link for the good ones because I've been given a couple that are proven good now. So no more $75 Edelbrock fuel pumps. In fact, the good one is like $20. So put the fuel pump in. Of course, I need to rewire things because where the lead was that comes on the pump was now where the connection had to be was like halfway into the cab of the truck. So there wasn't quite enough wire. So I had to extend the wiring and change a bunch of stuff, but got it all together, had the whole thing running, drove around the block as proof of concept. Said, all right, now I'm going to head to Prescott for the Prescott rally. And loaded the truck up with all the camping gear and headed up north and made it to Prescott without a hiccup. And that's not an easy trek in an old vehicle because it's pretty much all uphill up to 17. So it's one of those grades where the 18 wheelers are doing like 35. So it made it there. No complaints. Everything worked well. Did my first camping trip in the back of the truck. Had the air mattress in the bed, had the screened windows opened up. Perfect way to camp in the back of a pickup truck. Huge fan. Works out very well. It's actually even more comfortable than a tent because you're on flat ground. I'll probably make some more modifications to make it even more comfortable and make it more amenities in the back of the truck when camping. But I'm definitely into that camper cap because it works out super well for exactly as I wanted it to. So, project car success right there. Got a new cap. Didn't die on the freeway. Got towed home. Got the car fixed. And in the meantime, drove the Eclipse and it ran great. So, all pros. That's really it as far as project car updates go. Because other than that, I haven't done too much. Just been working and doing other things around the house. But events, I went to the Prescott Rally.
Yeah. What did you do at the Prescott Rally? Because that sounded pretty cool.
I ran sweep. So
Physically
I've
ran
never
it?
run. I ran sweep. Yes, I ran. Because everybody knows marathon runner here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did not run sweep. I passengered sweep, but I've never been involved with doing sweep before.
Mm-hmm.
And this was probably the easiest event to do sweep at because we never had to tow anybody.
Nice.
So they have 4 sweep vehicles, and they have it set up so that you kind of do every other stage.
Yes, because it would take too long
Mostly,
otherwise.
yeah, because the distance between the stages too. There are a couple stages that there's like an hour to an hour and a half transit in between. So if you're still helping tow a car out of stage, you're not going to make it in time to the next stage. So there's 4
Yeah,
stages of 3
rally,
vehicles.
like you don't think of the time until you like really sit and think about it. But if you've got, what do they have, 30, 40 cars probably? Maybe
Oh
30
no, not
cars?
even close to that. I think
Maybe
there were
25
18.
cars? Oh, wow. Yeah, a little regional event.
Yep.
But you got to figure, a big event like Nefra was, where you had like 60 cars one year. If you were giving them, maybe the first 5 cars are 2 minutes apart, but if the remainder of the cars are set a minute apart, that's an hour, right?
Yeah,
It's an
absolutely.
like so, and yeah, so it's like that balloons, like you don't think about it, that the time just like expands and you lose it. So you got to do that thing where they'll have like multiple sweep teams. But anyway, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I've always wanted to run sweep, but in the New England region, the sweep mafia has it pretty much locked down that it's hard to become a new sweep person there, right? So,
We know them now.
oh yeah, I'm not anti them. They do a great job, and it's just they've been doing it for so long. There's no reason to add new sweep teams. So why would we? But in this particular event, I'm not sure if there's not regular sweep teams or what, but Michael had been invited to run sweep mostly because his vehicle is ridiculous and they wanted it to be like part of the promotion of the event, I think. So we ran it in I've probably talked about his truck before on this show, but we ran it in his 1989 LM002 Lamborghini, which is obviously a ridiculous vehicle. And it sticks out like a sore thumb and nobody knows what it is. And it's also not a V12 Lamborghini anymore. It's diesel swapped the whole nine. Like it's a pretty well built truck. And I learned a bunch about that truck this weekend that I didn't know. It was actually a SEMA truck that he built.
Huh.
So that's why it has certain things on it that it has, like the wheel choice and all the fog lights and everything that are on it were all because of the SEMA sponsors that helped, either donate the parts or whatever for the truck. It was in, I think, Nexon Tires booth in 2018, maybe, or 2019. But he built the whole truck basically for that SEMA event and has kept it obviously ever since. But sweep is cool because you're not running rally pace, but also there's nobody telling you you're
Yeah.
doing something wrong and you're driving aggressive. Like you don't want to just spend 5 miles an hour like you're off-roading. So a vehicle with good suspension is important to have, and something that's reliable enough and powerful enough to go quickly along stage routes reliably is kind of important. So he was considered heavy sweep, and it's got remote reservoir, Fox shocks, and big tires, and I am still surprised or still like super stoked about the fact that I was able to, even as a passenger, run a rally stage at speed in an LM002. Like if you ever told me that, yeah, Brad, one day you'll be out in an LM002 sideways through desert forest roads, I'd be like, no, it's probably not going to happen. But it did happen, and that was rad. Like there aren't many people that can say they've ridden in an LM002, let alone on a dirt path, like full on, just absolute blasting through, and a couple of four-wheel drifts, and just what a cool time. What a cool truck. What a just a absolutely awesome weekend that I for one will never forget, because that's the stuff that, like, child Brad was like, yeah, LM002s are super cool. I'll never see one. Yeah, I got to ride in one on a rally stage. Super cool.
Nice.
Didn't get many pictures of the
Yeah.
rally because obviously when you're running sweep, you're behind the rally, but it is what it is. It was a good time. So I will forever thank Michael for that opportunity to ride in that truck, because man, what a cool thing. Like the coolest thing. So can't wait to do it again next year. It is funny. Just before that happened, he couldn't make it on time to be there for sweep on Friday. So he was like, "Hey, do you think you could run sweep?" And I was like, "With what?" And he's like, "With your truck. It's 4-wheel drive." And I was like, "No, absolutely not." I don't think they would be super excited for their heavy sweep vehicle to be a mini truck 4-wheel drive. So I think I'll hold off on that one. Also, just put a new fuel pump in it because the last one died. I'm not going to go beat it up on rally stages, but
Yeah.
in the LM though, super cool. I can't even explain, Andrew, how cool it was. Like it was just giddy the whole time. So Arizona rally people are cool. They're very similar to New England rally people. My guess is that rally people all over the country are the same. This was
Pretty much.
I think the first year, maybe the second year, they ran a special stage. There's not a lot of spectators. There's no official spectator stage on the Prescott Forest Rally. Much like in New England, there are people who go out on the roads before they're closed and stake out some spots, but there's no official spectator stage. So what they did was, and I didn't get to see it because we were out doing sweep activities at the equestrian center in Verde Village, or Verde Village, something like that. They have, it's where they actually host the rally cross up there. But the special stage was essentially a rally cross. And after the timed runs were over, they were doing, I'm not sure how it worked, but they were giving rides in rally cars on the special stage to people who went to watch. So that's a super cool, like, spectator involvement activity to try to get more interest in the sport. At the very least, into the rallycross side of the sport. So that was cool. They did run a rallycross on Sunday, the next day after the rally, but I did not stick around. Michael did stick around, and he actually rallycrossed the LM. So
Nice.
very neat. Yeah. And I guess the rule is the vehicle can't be taller than it is wide.
Oh, that works out.
Yep.
It's pretty
so
wide.
It's an LM, so it's ridiculously wide. Yeah. So it worked out just fine. But he had a good time. So there's one of the rally organizers up there has a Lancia Delta Integrale, and it was if you run the LM in the rallycross, I'll run the Delta Integrale. So I was like, oh, okay. we'll do this. So that convinced him to stay and run the rallycross in the LM. So it proved itself all weekend. It did wonderful. Truck ran great.
Yep.
No issues at all. The only issue was at one point on stage, it shut itself off. But I think it was just the vibration actually turned the key off.
Oh, okay.
So other than that, it was fine. It fired right back up again. So no issues. But yeah, super cool week, super cool weekend. And I got back in my truck, drove my truck back down the hill, no issues at all. So
Well, you could have just rolled downhill.
yeah, there's some climbing you got to do a little bit up there. You've been up out and back before. It is definitely easier to come back home. I will say that the Arizona DOT has implemented these high traffic lanes. Basically, it's like
Yeah.
almost like the 93 in Boston, where during certain hours it's northbound and certain hours it's southbound. Which
Hold on.
helped out.
Hold on.
Yep.
You've been out west too long. You said the 93.
Yeah, probably. I have
It's
been.
93. The one? You gonna take the one? The route one?
No, it's been more than 6 years, Andrew. It's been a long time. The 17 now has lanes that are just like the ones in Boston on 93.
Yeah.
Instead of using a zipper truck, though, they have bright red flashing lights on gates that open and close from either side. But it helps because obviously everybody on the weekend goes north from Phoenix to escape the heat, and it's the main path. So much like coming down out of New Hampshire after a holiday weekend, it can get congested. So by opening up those center lanes, it helps out a ton. So on the 17, because
Yep.
if it was 17, that would mean it's in Boston. It's amazing how that's such a thing. Like the one is California, Route 1 is East Coast,
Exactly.
unofficially. Listen, as a North Shore of Massachusetts person, it took me a long time to realize there was life outside of the 93 corridor. So 95 corridor, really. That's what I meant to say, not 93. The 95.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, that's my project car updates. Little down date and update in the same podcast because we waited so long.
Anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's it.
We're
I
calling that a
got,
podcast?
bunch of stuff coming up, but nothing's happened yet. So
Yeah. All right, cool. So come visit us in the Discord, because if we're not releasing an episode, you can at least hang out in our Discord. Just message
give us a
me
hard
or
time
Brad.
for not releasing an episode.
Yeah, you can. There's a whole episode discussion thread, and boy howdy do people give it to us. But it's all in good fun. I know you're all joking, and but I appreciate it. Yeah, just message me or Brad. We'll send you a link. And we're on Instagram. That's probably the best way to see auto off topic content. I'm on Instagram as well. Race and Anger. And Brad, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram on the Auto Off Topic page or on my personal page of TSI SS350. We do have scale autocasts that we have been slacking a little bit on, but I actually am currently mid-build on another RC car, so I should be putting some pics up of that soon.
Yeah, I got to do some more RC content. I think I put my boat on there, maybe. I don't remember. But yeah, got to get back to it while the weather's still good. All right, cool. As always, keep cars analog and aim for roses.